into the new year. Happy New Year, everybody. I'm back at the boat. I still got to do some work on the batteries before I can get out there and sail, but I think today we're going to do a little sailing. But of course, first I got to resolve all my battery issues. Back down in here. Now I disconnected this one because I had a feeling that this one was the bad one. Actually, it's not really a feeling. I put the charger on it and it kind of got hot and never really charged. So I'm hoping this one is charged up. I'll take a look at that now, and hopefully just that one is bad. After I got the batteries to the shop, I gave them a more thorough testing and they turned out to both be no good. So I decided, the heck with them. I'm gonna go ahead and get as much lithium in here as I can possibly fit. Alright, and that is the shape I have to fit batteries in there. So it's kind of a little bit of a parallelogram or a rectangle with a point on it, whatever you want to call it. So I'm going to remove the trays and measure it out, and I'll make a pattern to see how I can fit my new batteries. Alright, batteries are out and the trays are out, and now I need to see how this battery switch is actually wired. I know I wired the positive coming from the solar panel to the bank was out here, the big bank, and my starter bank, my starter battery is wired to the charger that is the onboard 110 charger. So I want to make sure I'm right. I'm going to connect this test light to the common ground. There is a nice steady bright light, and then this one, and I don't know if you can see it on camera, it's pulsing, and those pulses are typical of a battery charger, a 110 battery charger. So I know I'm charging my house bank, the solar, that's going to be what's going to charge the lithium battery. I want to keep it that way. And then this way, if I put the battery switch on all, it'll back charge the starter battery and keep me from getting stuck and not being able to start. That's our shape. I'll go ahead and make a bunch of measurements. We'll make a paper template back at the shop. All right, I'm back in the shop, and I took a piece of construction paper and drew out the shape of that platform for the batteries. So now it's just a matter of seeing how many batteries I can fit on this. So as we're looking at it, this is the forward-most outboard corner right here. And this right here runs along nearest the center line. The motor and all the repair stuff is right here. All right, the first one I want to make sure fits is this. And this is a homemade one. But I made this about, I'm really happy with it because it's really high quality cells and a really good BMS. A couple of more standard ones. Well, we got three. That's 300 amp hours right there. This one. And that's not gonna work. And that won't fit that way. This will fit. Nope. Let's see. And that's got it. I was shocked I was able to get 400 amp hours of lithium on that little bit of a footprint. The trick was allowing the BMS on this one to overhang the line. That gave me that extra room. Since I'm setting these batteries up in parallel, I need to connect all the positives together and all the negatives together. So I'm using some of this 1/16 of an inch aluminum stock and making some straps. Basically, they're going to be jumpers, but instead of wires, it's going to be hard aluminum. So they'll go across all the battery terminals and serve two purposes. It'll hold the batteries together and, of course, be bus bars for the positive and negative. This way, I can eliminate all those crimp connectors, because crimp connectors are always the weak point in any of these systems. So I drilled the holes in the plates so that the batteries would be nice and snug, and then I made that bend there, that offset, so that the two different sizes would match up nicely. And after a good dry fit and making sure everything aligned well, we're ready to go back to the boat and put these in. Oh man, definitely you get a cramp down here, you're done. So you can see how I've got the strap set up. First thing I want to do is set up this this little rail right here. All right, first thing I want to mark where the center hole is going to be, which is right at 9. So probably I'll use this hole that's existing there. And I'm doing all this because I decided to go with only the 3 lithium batteries out here. And I'm saving my homemade one to install on the inside later on. Having those 3 batteries with very similar sizes will make it a lot easier to strap them down and keep them where they need to be. And these aluminum rails will keep them from sliding fore and aft. This wire is actually the jumper between the 2 old batteries, so I can get rid of that. Alright, just a matter of dropping these in. And I've got the straps marked for negative and positive. So this is the negative side. It's gonna go here. This go here. Looks like I got them set up right. Now I did bring out the 3rd lithium battery, that pack that I made myself, and I fit it in here and it did squeeze in, so it's definitely a possibility for the future. Now aluminum is okay to use for electrical connection. It has good conductivity, but it can become corroded, especially when it's in contact with stainless steel. So it's something that I'll keep an eye on, and I didn't bring it with me, but I do have a canister of conductor corrosion protection, which is like a kind of a greasy cream, and I'll put it on all around this stuff and it should protect it for a long time. Before I tighten them down, I need to set up the connections for power feed, which will be this corner for positive and this corner down here for negative. And I found a ratcheting closed box end that makes things just a little quicker and easier. All right, that's got it. And I'm just using that cover I made from the 2 bases from the old batteries and that I riveted together. And it goes like this, just to protect all that exposed electrical metal. And it does have a little channel for the strap to sit in. I can put stuff on top of this without worrying about anything. Let's take a look at what the battery meter says on the inside. And looking at my cheap little battery monitor, you can see it's showing 14 volts, and that seems high, but that's because the solar panels are putting in some power. Now I flip the switch over to the lithium bank we just put in, and you can see it's right at 13.2, and that's because it's controlled by its own battery management system. Covered up with cushions and ropes just like it should be. Let's go ahead and make sure the starter battery has stayed charged up. I'm going to go ahead and back the boat out. The current is kind of pushing me that way. We'll see how I adjust to that. That's going to be fun by myself. This is also a good test for my microphone that I just got. See if I can get us pushed all the way to the other side. All right, I've got it in reverse, and it's just a matter of babying it out off these piles. Not fun. All right. Be nicer if I didn't have this current. But we're going to go ahead and back all the way out. And she's pretty responsive in reverse, unlike a lot of boats. And it's real easy to underpower. A lot of times it takes a little bit of extra power to make sure you got the steerage. And away we go. And let's get out in the middle of the river and see what life has in store for us out there. This is something I should have done at the dock, but can tend to get in the way. And just eking into a little deeper water here. But look how calm it is. It's like zero wind. We're eking along at about 3 knots at about 1800 RPMs on the motor. Nice and easy against the current. So we'll see, maybe once we get way out there, we'll find a little bit of a breeze. All right, since we've got probably a mile and a half or so to go before we get to where I want to be, I'm going to go ahead and troll a silver spoon and see if there's something in this river. Slip it into the rod holder and see what happens. I need to learn how to relax. I'm always trying to do something around here. Because the hardest thing for me in this process of actually preparing not only the boat and all the systems, but preparing myself for a long trip, the hardest thing for me is actually feeling like I've got all my bases covered. I'm a meticulous kind of guy. I'm an engineer after all, and engineers spend many years learning how to understand what the failure modes are for every system. And so that's the way our brains work. We're always looking for what is it that's going to fail, how will it fail, what forces will it take to make it fail, and then of course coming up with ways to avoid those failures, or at least be able to recover from them. So you've got to have plan A, plan B, plan C, and somewhere close to plan Q to feel comfortable. So hopefully I'll kind of get over that a little bit and realize that I just have to trust that I'll be able to do what I need to do when the time comes. And I've been thorough enough with the system to trust it as best you can trust anything. All right, we found a nice little spot here. It's quiet, out of the way, out of the channel. And we're in about 12 feet of water, so. So I've got about 40 feet of chain out. That's plenty of road. And between the current and our momentum, we seem to have set. Silence. The glare out there is a bit much, especially for the camera. So let's talk a little bit about lithium batteries. So you guys notice that I replaced those two really big 105 amp hour lead acid batteries that weighed about 68 pounds each. And I replaced them with 300 amp hours of lithium batteries, 3 batteries, 100 amp hours each, for a total weight of about 60 pounds. So I more than half the weight that was sitting in that one little spot. And I quadrupled the amount of amp hour capacity that I have now in that bank. So that means I can confidently run my refrigerator freezer here, have my radio on, have fans running if I want to, have my lights on, all without worrying too much about my usage, because on a beautiful sunny day like today, all this power is being covered by that single 200 watt solar panel. And so all I need is for my battery bank to carry me over in the evening, which of course will have fewer lights operating and probably fewer fans too. And then during the day, whatever I used in the evening will get replenished by the solar panel, and I'll be able to run everything off the solar panel. That's the plan. So now I have about 3.5 kilowatt hours that I can tap into without touching my starter battery. And my usage is right at about 1 kilowatt per day, per 24 hours. So I could theoretically run everything for 3 solid days without any sunshine. But that would be a stretch, and I certainly don't want to have to do that. And I would have to probably shut everything except for the freezer. But let's get to some of the things most people are really concerned about. One, safety. Are they safe? Well, they're as safe as lead acid battery. This formulation of lithium is the safest they've made so far. And if you've been around for a while like I have, you've seen and heard about lead acid batteries blowing up because people don't know how to charge them, they connect them wrong. Remember, lead acid batteries emit hydrogen gas when they're charging, so they can be pretty dangerous. Although we all use them and we all use them safely, so it's the same thing with lithium. There's always a chance for them to get hot and run away with some heat and maybe even catch fire. But it's super rare and they're used everywhere. Your cell phone, your laptop. If you go to a hospital, everything you see on carts, all those electronics, they're all being run on lithium batteries. So I don't really consider the safety issue a bigger issue than it was with lead acid. The bigger issue to me is how you use them, how you recharge them, and how you're connected to your charging system. Because lithium batteries have their own controlling system inside. They have their own little computer. It's called a BMS, a battery management system, that controls battery parameters like how quickly it'll charge, how quickly it'll discharge, and when it'll shut itself down in case something weird happens, whether it gets hot, gets too cold, overcharges, or discharges too far. And that's something, of course, lead acid batteries could never do, and they would kill themselves sometimes over discharging, and you'd end up with 2 dead batteries like I did because one of them went bad and killed the other one. So lithium batteries are really a boon for campers and sailboat cruisers and anyone using power off the grid. Every building out there that you see with giant solar panel arrays all have giant lithium arrays as well. It's just really the way things are going, and hopefully they'll even get better. They'll have more power concentrated in smaller packages, lighter, easier to handle, easier to connect, and more intelligent with better controls. But for now, we actually have some pretty adequate batteries, and they're actually dropping in price pretty quickly. The other thing is the connection to your charging system. It's easy to connect them and charge them through solar panels, but you also can charge them from your engine's alternator, although you have to take some precautions with it because the battery can shut itself off completely and abruptly. It has the potential of ruining your alternator if you don't have it connected correctly. Now, there are gadgets that are alternator protectors that you connect between the batteries and your alternator that will protect your alternator from any shutdown that they might do. But what I'm doing is I'm using my lead acid battery to start, and I'm keeping that battery in the circuit. So I'm running the battery switch on both. So I have both banks on there, the lithium and that single lead acid battery. This way, if the lead acid battery bank shuts itself down, which would be really weird for all 3 of those batteries to shut down at the same time, but it could happen. That lead acid battery will still be in the circuit and still act as a draw that alternator will see. This way you don't hurt your alternator. I'm gonna chill here for a while, have a little something to eat, and hopefully on the next video we'll be making a trip. I want to make my first trip away from here to be into Georgia. I want to go to St. Mary's, and since it's pretty close, I have the option of either getting out on the Atlantic or staying in the intercoastal and sort of chugging my way up the diesel. Hopefully we'll be able to get out in the Atlantic this time without giant waves and make our way the 25 miles to St. Mary's Inlet. Go in there, spend a few days exploring the little town, make our way back. And that'll be our first true cruise. Thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you got something out of the video. And if you want to see other videos with some DIY, check out the one that appears on the screen right now. And I'll catch you guys on the next video where I prep for that trip.